Hear me out. What if, now, I have yet to make up my mind about the Earth being a globe, or way larger than what it is and still a globe, or completely flat, or the ice wall, or, it's just fun to think about, and there's something going on here. Something's not right? We know that much. And then beyond that, what I really believe about how light reality is anyway, so none of that stuff really matters. But just for interest and entertainment, right? So, if they were able to fool a whole portion of this living existence and fool them that they're living on a ball, let's say that it did happen and we're not living on it. Let's just say hypothetically, what would be the benefit of that? Right? Well, it will effectively trap an entire, say, species in a certain segregated area of existence. I'm not going to say of Earth or the flat planet. I'm just going to say of existence, and they would know it. What could that be synonymous with? I think your consciousness, expanding, right? Not only they could be trapping your consciousness, but it's just naturally when your consciousness expands and gets to a certain limit, you start coming into this notions about the planet not being really round and what's this ice wall? What are they talking? You know what I mean? It means you're growing in consciousness, I think. Now, does that mean that any of that stuff is really true? Maybe, maybe not. It's not really the point I'm making. What would they get for hiding it? What else? Maybe that's a way of maintaining consciousness of a certain group of consciousnesses. If you can get them to believe that they're on a ball, that's instant trappedness. Instant feeling of like you're on an island and no one else can get you, or you're on a ball in the middle of an endless dark void. It's a way to get a certain kind of vibe across. Maybe there's something else to it. What else would you want to make people think we're on a ball? We're not actually on a ball, if that is the case. Real estate, maybe. Maybe it's a fractal thing. Maybe nothing's changed. Maybe, you go up to a bigger room, right? So, how the world is today, big masses of people of all varieties of living, good, luxury, and bad, but not knowing what's going on, and then a few people really living. The 1%, the 0.5, the 0.3%, really the 0.1%, and you're really living, right? And maybe that's the same thing. Maybe the people, it just changes their perspective a little bit. The people who are really living are the ones who are privileged to live outside the ice wall, and they're keeping that real estate fresh and pristine. The only way they can do that is to make sure the rest of us don't even think of it as a thing. And if it is true, they've been having a go at it for a pretty long time. And so there is more real estate out there, no matter if if the planet's way bigger than it is, or if it's just a little more real estate. Maybe there's a couple, like say, maybe there's an Africa-sized continent out there. No, it's just that big. It's just not that big. You know what I mean? But that's still crazy, though, right? Or maybe like even smaller. Maybe there's something out there, any kind of real estate, or maybe there's a whole flat plane of infinite real estate out there that they're still exploring. You know how people are when they find something new, they kind of want to get all the exploration out of it before they let other fuckers get all their fuckers in it. Kind of like the gold rush, maybe, or any cool trend, like you're the first one to do it, and all of a sudden now every motherfucker's doing it, and now it's not even cool anymore, but you're doing it from the love. It wouldn't matter if you were doing it because you'd be doing it for the love. But I'm just trying to make a point. You know how people are. It's probably kind of new thing out there that they're just lapping up, or could be. I hear people say that's where they're getting the technology from, but who knows? It's so cool because all this talk, and I haven't weighed into what it's going. It could be anything. That's what it is. It could be something. We could be barking up this tree of ice wall of the Earth is bigger than it is, super Earth. And we're trapped consciousness, or infinite flat planes, or any of this stuff, right? And it could be something completely different. And then I could be barking up a tree. Okay, yeah, well, it's all that stuff, but it's also like, obviously, space and time and all that stuff doesn't even exist, and we're obviously just a bunch of perspective and geometries and illusions, kind of like a what's that? Not a planogram. Was it a pictogram or that depth illusion thing? Kind of like it's So we're all just flat, almost nothingness. So, you know, what does that all matter now? What if that's not even close to where it's at? Well, none of that's even close. None of it's even close to where it's at. It's something so far removed from that we're not going to get there for forever. And that's just kind of exciting, isn't it? Like it could be something left field. We're all energy, vibration, and frequency now. But what if we're just something completely even different than that we haven't even got to yet? Which it might be. Which is interesting. Although I have a hard time imagining something more fundamental than vibration. But just the fact I can't imagine past that probably just means that's where my consciousness wall is. It's no longer the ice wall. It's that. It's no longer the idea of us being trapped on a brown planet. It's that. Or whatever. Well, now I'm just spitting. But I wanted to talk about that. This ice wall thing. And this flat earth thing. All this evidence coming out now about flat earth. And, and I might not know enough about math. Now, old me would be like, well, the earth is so big, obviously. We all know this, that it looks flat. I mean, it's huge. And people don't understand the size of it. So, of course, you're going to see a flat plane. You're going to fly an airplane. It's going to be so high, it's still going to look flat. That's how fucking big earth is, right? That was my old thing. But now I'm looking at all this evidence that earth is not flat. I mean, not round. Not a globe. Like the video I just saw about the longest camera recording of a person. I think it was like 12.4 miles away, and he had the camera from his camera, and he had a video of him waving and that far away, and it was a complete flat line to the subject. And I think it did the math, and that should have been like 60 or so missing feet. Like he should have been under the earth, like over the horizon, because of the curvature of the earth, which they know because they have it mapped out, apparently. Now, I don't know enough to know if 12 miles is enough to make 67 feet missing or not. I didn't do the math. The video seemed convincing. And I'm sure people can do the math out there. And it seems like something that's easily figure outable. And I'm sure there's many factors that get in the way of actually getting the raw numbers out too. But it's just funny how everything just seems to be sitting right perfect on the meaning's edge of punning, right? It could be this or that. It could easily be either one. There's just not enough information this way or that way, or the perspective makes it weird to where you can see it this way or that way. And the key thing is it's both ways. That's the thing. It literally is both ways. And we're trying to meld these realities together. One reality knows it's this way, one reality knows it's that way. Neither reality has enough beings that know that your beliefs create your reality. And we're trying to marry these two realities together, and we are fucking punning ourselves quantumly to hell. Like we're feedbacking ourselves. We're confusing ourselves because we're missing a piece of the information. So when we try to meld these two things together, we're like, well, it's definitely this. No, it's definitely this. My life experiences showed me it's this. Well, my life experiences showed me this. Well, how do we have completely two different life experiences? We're sitting right here talking to each other. They don't know about the malleableness of the universe and how your beliefs create your reality. And so that's the missing piece. And so both views are actually right. The Earth isn't a globe. And the Earth is a flat plane, and the Earth is anything else you could imagine that you genuinely have your life experience made you really believe. It's that. So if some other person has some idea that they would never speak up that they believe the Earth is, but maybe they're a type that's shy and they would never speak up, right? But they have this idea through their life experience. Maybe they're 70 years old and they got it. They know, and it's not round, it's not flat, it's some completely different thing. That is true, completely true too. And the reason that confuses everyone, how all these perspectives can be completely true, they don't know what truth means. They don't know the power and the beliefs, and anything that is true is just something that has been focused on long enough. Thank you, Esther Hicks. It's just that. It's just that a belief is just a thought you keep thinking, you keep focusing it around, and it becomes a belief system. You don't know that it's forming your reality. You got in on the wrong step, right? You could have got on the first step, but you got on the back step, and you're missing half the show, so it kind of fucked you over for a little bit. And that's all. That's all. Oh man, the bird knows, right? The bird knows. He's like, listen to me, bitches. This is what it's about right here. This is my reality, and it's true to me. I always wonder if trees had eyes. You know how we see them just standing there. We know they're growing and doing shit, but they're just standing there. But if they had eyes, like our eyes, I'm sure they see us in their own ways. They would see us too, but we would just be like gnats, like super fast. Because our speed differences. We're running different speed, processor speed, you know what I mean? And we see them as barely moving and getting moved around by nature, by wind and trees. And we can see them growing by taking pictures and still apps cameras and kind of get a peek into their life. But if they would see us with our eyes, they'd just be. I'm walking by all slowly here, but they just. And we live so short compared to them. You know, just like us to gnats. You know, it's the same kind of ratio thing. Or like how some small person can see something huge like Godzilla moving, and it looks like he's moving in slow motion, but really from Godzilla's perspective, he's just fucking moving. Perspective. Yeah, it's all true. If you genuinely believe it, if you can imagine it, first of all, if you can imagine it, it's out there somewhere in existence. And that's not something fanciful, because existence is way more ethereal and thin and flat and not, it's infinitely depth, but just not much there at the same time, so it can handle all this. You imagine it, it's out there. If you believe it to be true, it's a reality for you, and it's already in the process of making sure that you keep believing it to be true. You can always dissipate. You never get completely trapped. We always have fail-safes. Not gonna worry about that. But if two people have completely different ideas, completely opposing, and they completely believe it, they're in reality. Each of their realities is true for them, and it literally is true for them. When they come together, they're making a third share. If it was just those two people, they're making a kind of a third mixed shared reality, where they're going to try to meld these ideas, and it might just be portrayed in a way where they have a scientific competition and they prove it through science, and that's the realities are melded, and they find out that it's not really your way or my way, it's just new way, and that's the way it's melded. Or it could be that they already know about belief and thoughts and how it's literally both people are right, and they don't even talk about that, and they're off to doing some whatever else people would be doing that know that already, right? And that's probably only one way it can be portrayed physically to the experiencer, of two different realities trying to be melded so that so that they can share the reality in a more convincing fashion, and convincing only, you know, depending on what their definition of convincing is. Back to why they want to trick us into thinking the Earth is a globe. Why would they want to do that? It could just be a representation of our consciousness expanding. That's it. We're expanding our consciousness, so the physical reality has to show us in some kind of magical way. And look, lo and behold, something we thought was the case is not the case at all. Wouldn't that be crazy? Wouldn't that be crazy? People have their minds blown. But it's slowly trickling in, so that's not going to happen. Or we would be short-circuited if they tried to tell us the Earth is flat, you know, way ago. But now, all this crazy talk and AI and who knows what's true, it's kind of like malleable to water it up a little bit. It's softened softened us up a little bit, so we can then lay it on you. Yeah, the Earth is completely flat, and it just goes straight forever. The flat, infinite lands in every direction forever, or whatever the case may actually be. I still, nothing takes a case if you create your own reality. All the other stuff, I think, just falls. It's not as important. then figuring out that you create all this. So the earth's flat, so the earth's round, so the earth's this, so the earth's that. What's to make a difference if you're creating it? You're creating an experience. It's secondary. That's secondary importance then. If you know that you're creating the experience that we're arguing about, right? It's more important to get a handle on the steering wheel and figure out, am I really creating this? Yes, I am. All right. How the fuck do I do it? Can I prove it to myself? Can I get better at it the same way I get better at, say, tennis or drawing or listening or meditating or anything? Yes, you can. So yeah, you move into a different phase where even the things, the higher frequencies are thinking and entertaining and wondering about, you start to be like, I'm going to focus more on just creating my reality. I'm going to create my reality for where I know it is to be, and you guys can all live in it, kind of deal. Alright, that's a nice 15-minute 4 a.m. morning bird chirping walk. Got the moon sitting right fucking in front of me, almost completely full. Walking straight towards it. Maybe, can I do that? I can. Oh, there she blows.